The next day was Friday. Out of all the weekdays, this one was my favorite, since it was the closest to the weekend. Just like on Wednesday, Adachi wasn't showing up. Ever since yesterday, I'd had a hunch that this would happen, that Hino's and Nagafuji's presence would affect her in some way when she'd stopped coming here. I could wait here till lunch break. I could wait for hours after it, and I still likely wouldn't meet her. Yeah, there was a good chance that she'd never come here again. And if I wasn't meeting her here, the chances of me running across her in general would drop dramatically. If I was unlucky, it was possible that I wouldn't see her face until graduation. Unlucky, huh? Is that so? If meeting Adachi was considered lucky, then that meant that it was a good thing for me. Well, made sense. She was my friend after all. It would have been strange to consider meeting her a negative. Feeling that it was a positive thing was why we had been meeting here in the first place. Definitely, no doubt about that. Those feelings had faded when Hino and Nagafuji had come, disappeared like smoke. Adachi was moping, perhaps. There was another, quite similar word that described her perfectly, but I couldn't recall it. Either way, because of that, she was avoiding coming here. I thought I knew exactly what was going on in her head. Yet, no matter what I did, I still couldn't remember the word. It was like a weight on my shoulders that I couldn't take off. There was so much I didn't know about Adachi, and sometimes it annoyed me. The only person who I understood even slightly was myself. Yesterday, while watching Hino and Nagafuji play table tennis, it had sunk in. That's not what I wanted. Something about playing it with permission, your jersey on all neat and tidy, felt wrong. This wasn't a place for us four to get together and have noisy fun. The atmosphere that had been in the air while Adachi and I played ping pong with our uniforms worn casually suited it the best, I thought. That unique sense of relaxation that was only achievable when it was just the two of us was why we had come here in the first place. That's how I felt, at least. The true essence of it was beyond my grasp. Even so, Hino and Nagafuji coming here just didn't feel right. That I was sure of. We're meeting tomorrow at 10. You better be there in time, because if you're not, I won't put the bait on your fish hook for you. Yeah, I got it. I casually waved off Hino's reminder, still wondering why exactly I was going fishing to meet some weirdo. I left the classroom. Though Hino and Nagafuji did invite me to come with them, I declined their offer and left by myself. From the corridor to the shoe rack downstairs, I stared at the map drawn on the torn piece of paper and wondered if I should go. In the end, I decided not to. It was hard to imagine that Adachi was just sitting quietly at home. Past the school gate, my steps were filled with caution. I did sort of hope to find Adachi sitting past the gas station, and so that walk turned into a light jog on my way there. Nevertheless, the bad-mannered delinquent was nowhere to be seen. Only the fence stood there, silently. As a test, I tried sitting on it, and almost fell backwards onto the road. My heart still pounding from the near-death experience, I continued walking forwards, albeit more slowly than before. I stopped, contemplating whether or not to quickly visit the convenience store adjacent to the gas station, before cutting across the empty parking lot of an eyeglass store. After turning left at the green, cylindrical cram school building and passing the bus station where I usually parted ways with Hino and Nagafuji, I felt an impact. Slam! Whoa! Something hit my back lightly and almost caused me to fall on my face. Getting ready for a street punk or a delinquent to charge me and demand my money, I cautiously looked over my shoulder. My prediction had been sort of right, mainly the delinquent part. It was Adachi. She was riding her bike, and it looked as if she had stuck out her hand and pushed my back with it. Thankfully, she didn't seem to have intended to ram into me with a vehicle, which made me feel a bit relieved. Sorry, I tried to brake but didn't make it in time. Is that why you said slam when you hit me? Adachi got off the bike and began walking beside me while pushing it. I hadn't seen her at all in school that day, yet she was still wearing her uniform. Her bag was also in the basket. So was a plastic bag, filled with something. I walked forward in a relatively quick pace, and Adachi followed. Are you sure? About what? You don't live this way? Yeah, I don't. Adachi drew her chin in slightly, but showed no signs of turning back. I had gone to her house the other day, so maybe this time she was coming to mine. This, too, might have been a way for her to kill time. For a moment, we walked in silence. Every now and then, I'd sneak in a glance at her. Both her hair and the silhouette of her face were refined, as if crafted on in painstaking detail. Seeing her blink as I stared at her made me feel relieved. She was alive after all. I stared for too long, and our eyes soon met. She took out a plastic bag from her bike's basket and handed it to me. Shimamura, take this. Okay. What's this? I took a look inside and saw a pastry. Two, in fact. Judging from its shape, one of them was a cream bun. The other one was stuffed bread, filled with something white. Tuna, or potato perhaps. Both were the kind that you could buy at the school canteen. There was also a bottle of lukewarm mineral water at the bottom of the bag that made you wonder for how long it had been there. A little much for breakfast, but not enough for dinner. In other words, lunch. I was thinking about giving this to you during lunch break. Lunch break? I tried imagining Adachi standing in line at the crowded canteen, but it just felt so wrong. However, hearing her say those words, lunch break, it suddenly clicked. Oh, this is the next time. It was the first time I had ever seen Adachi laugh. Her normally fierce stare softened, like the rays of the evening sun. How much was it? I'll pay you, I asked, and began pulling out my wallet. No, it's fine, Adachi replied without telling me the price. Well, whatever. I could just put my memory to work and estimate. The mineral water was likely the type sold in the vending machine, so that didn't take long to recall. Now I just needed to remember how much the stuffed bread cost, and I'll have the answer. I rubbed my finger against my brow and groaned slightly, trying to remember. Adachi looked at me, confused, but I ignored her and focused on getting my brain to work. After rummaging through my memory for a moment, it finally appeared in front of me. Good timing, because any longer and I could have gotten dizzy. I pulled out my wallet and started counting. It seemed that I had just the right combination of coins with me, so I prepared the sum I had calculated and handed the money to Adachi. Here's for the water and bun. The exact right amount, isn't it? I stated, full of confidence. Adachi, having taken the money, simply tilted her head, however. Dunno, I forgot already. Bummer. Feeling a little disappointed that I didn't get to show off, I twisted the plastic bottle open. As the lukewarm water entered my mouth, I could truly feel the remnants of the bygone summer. As usual, I had spent my entire summer break this year just lying around. After a few sips, I held out the bottle to Adachi. Want a drink? She took the bottle and gulped down about 1/3 of it. After it left her lips, she took a breath and, still facing forward, spoke reluctantly. I'm glad that you didn't go home with your other friends. I would have missed my chance to give you these. I didn't really see how them being around would have stopped her from doing that. Right as I was about to put those thoughts into words, I noticed the look on Adachi's face. It was the expression of a child. Her eyes were cast slightly downwards, and her lower lip faintly pouted. Those two minor changes alone altered her usually nonchalant appearance massively. She looked like a child sulking quietly. Looking at her face, I finally found the word I had been looking for earlier. The one close to moping, but not quite. Sulking. Sounds kind of similar, don't you think? Well, I suppose that's subjective. Adachi had said that I was her only friend. In other words, yeah, I think I understood what was happening. If I said that to her face, Adachi would likely get mad, then deny it, then leave me and go home. I'd get embarrassed too, and have trouble looking her in the eyes. Even when it wasn't easy to admit things, even when things bothered me. At times, I still faced forward. We didn't need to clear it all up. Just one single thing was enough. Adachi, I called to her, and she turned to look at me. Staring back at her, as if refusing to avert my gaze, I pointed straight forward at the far end of the road. Are you walking with me to my house? For the current me and Adachi, this was all that I could ask, and all that she could answer. We still needed practice to put curve into the ping pong ball bouncing between us. Yep, that's the plan. I smiled at her reply. I'll need to make you a map, won't I? I said, swinging the plastic bag lightly from side to side.